Good evening. Welcome to the February 28th, 2023 meeting of the ARPA Committee. We do have a quorum of 4 members present, and also Tony Dean. So, first order of business, we go over we have 2 sets of minutes to go over. The meeting from 2/13 and the one from last week, 2/22. So everyone had a chance to review them, or I'll entertain a motion? Or any motions? Accept, make changes?
Looked fine.
Somebody needs to make a
Motion to accept them.
Second.
motion. Made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. And 2/22 minutes. Everyone's had a chance to review them. Any motions?
Motion to accept.
Motion by Ken,
Second.
second by Danny. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So next, my glasses. Actually, why don't we go right to our appointment for tonight with Kay's Trucking? And if you want to come up and sit at the table, microphone. I want to welcome Delilah and John Goncalves of Kay's Trucking. They've submitted an application for an ARPA request, and we're here to talk about that tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys to speak to your request.
Sure. So thanks for having us. Good evening, everyone. We represent Case Trucking, and we've been in business for a little over half a decade, and we are seeking financial assistance for the trucking business based on the COVID-19 impact. At the time, there was a significant negative impact to the trucking industry. Not only was it extremely difficult to find work because of COVID, but it was difficult to find profitable work at the time. With the major increase to gas prices, not only, but also to business expenses, we were forced to take work that had a very small profit margin at the time. So thus, all of this was really causing us to have an increase in business debt and unable to pay some of our employee expenses and business expenses. But now that there's been a slight turn, right, it's not great now, but there's been a turn for the better in the trucking industry. We're looking for the financial assistance to help us get our business back in good standing. So to pay back some of the business debt that we incurred, which was most of the money that we were making at the time was going to pay business expenses, but we weren't paying things like gas, right? So I believe we submitted our profit and loss, report, and there you can see, if you turn over to the back, what we spent just alone in vehicle and gas expenses was about $65,000, right? But then our income, and this was of course for when we submitted in September, so was around $102,000 for the year. So we paid $65,000 alone just in gas, right? That doesn't include marketing, advertising, insurance, the percentage that we have to pay to the brokers, travel, repairs to the truck, right? If you look at that line item as well, that was about $10,000 as well. So you can look at the net income that we have for the year. We were just left with a loss, right? So we're looking for the financial assistance to help us get back into the good standing and pay that debt off, but also to help us grow our business, right? So the support to Case Trucking, we'll have
Excuse me for 1 second.
Sure.
Would it be possible to go back and just kind of go through the ones you hit on in order, so we can kind of follow them?
Yeah, sorry. So at the top,
Just go a little slow if you don't.
sure. At the top, you can see the total income, and this was from January to September of 2022, was $102,000. And if you go down, then it takes you through the expenses, right? It itemizes the expenses based on the categories. So I just hit on a few of the major ones that we saw. So general business expenses, you can see that that was around $13,000. Then if you go down on the
And
line,
if,
You
do we
might have
have
the
a
wrong
different,
page.
we might have a different,
Yeah, we don't have those numbers.
income and
oh,
loss.
really?
Yeah.
I just printed this today.
Oh, so this was the one when you submitted, so we
Okay,
only
so
have
I
what
can
you
go
had
off of this
submitted.
then, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. It probably, it's automatic on QuickBooks, so it probably just updated. I printed it today,
Believe
so,
me.
sorry.
That's-
I only have 2 sets of.
Oh,
glasses.
okay, I see, because this one is printed for December, and this one goes.
Yeah. and
Okay, so, you can see the total income was 90,000, right? And
Yep.
then if you go down the line items, you can see the different expenses. So if we go to, general business expenses, $21,000, is in there. For trucking, there's different things like maintenance that you have to do, right? How often is maintenance?
Every like 10,000 miles.
Every
basically.
10,000 miles, we have to do maintenance on the truck, servicing, oil, all of those things are tied into general business expenses. And then if you keep going on just some of the numbers that I hit, which was the main ones, if you look at how much we spent in gas alone, which is on the second page, you can see that the vehicle and gas expenses were about $58,000. So, at the time, I can give you an example of some of the cost that or the payments that we were getting for, work was probably like $2 to, the most we would do was like $2.60 per mile that you would drive, right? And then gas would cost about $1 per mile, so right there you were just left with $1.60 left over, right? But then that doesn't even account for any of the expenses that you have to pay. So the percentage that we have to pay to the brokers to find the work, the gas, et cetera, right? So that's, a lot of it we were paying, the gas and business expenses, just using, some debt. So if you look at the bottom, overall, you know, the profit and loss brings you to a negative amount at the end.
So is it just you two, or do you have other drivers?
Yeah,
or-
so right now, it's just the two of us, and we do
Okay.
have one truck at
Okay,
the moment.
all right, and did you ever have other drivers, or has it always just been
No,
the
it's
two
just
of you
been
with
the
one
two
truck?
of us.
Okay, and then you, sorry, I'm just making sure, you contact brokers that are looking for goods to be transported, and then you have your own
Correct.
truck that you use to do the transportation? Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted-
So, we work with companies like Lowe's and Amazon and other
Okay.
big ones as well. So with Amazon, we can do that directly ourselves, and we don't
Mhm.
have to necessarily, we don't pay a percentage to a broker because we find the work on our own.
Okay,
But the Amazon industry took a hit as well, right?
Yeah.
For loads. So there's times where you can't find any work at all. And so then you have to turn over to a brokerage, which does charge you a percentage
Okay.
to find work.
thank you.
Mhm.
I had another sheet of paper that I had.
Did I take your?
No,
picture
it
too?
wasn't, I'll take that one back if
Okay.
that's okay,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
fine.
had another one. I was writing on this afternoon. I think, so when we submitted, when we put out for applications for people to submit ARPA requests, you guys were the only small business that applied. So that's part of the delay in the time since you applied and hearing from us
Okay.
is we've been working through a bunch of town requests.
Yeah.
And just kind of coming up, this is like an unprecedented money that's come in. So this whole committee has just been a learning curve of how we're handling it. Yeah, it's been quite a experience. I'm sure everyone can agree with that. And one thing, so what I've been trying to read up on is our requirements as a town if we were to, excuse me, give money to an outside small business. It's basically you'd become a subrecipient of the funds from the town. And there's a lot of requirements that come along with that. So some of the questions that I'm going to ask are just going to sound very like formal,
Yeah,
but it's
no
all
problem.
just part of, this is federal money. There's a lot of requirements and standards, so we just need to get a little bit more of a understanding. So first is, you said you've been in business for like 5 years?
So we
Or-
have,
And then I saw, because I saw too that you filed in December of
Yeah.
'21, so was that,
so in the trucking industry, yeah. So you
Okay.
can be, Basically, you can be in the truck industry as a driver
Mhm.
without having your LLC established, right?
Okay,
You can
so
still-
did you just file like
we
a
just
Schedule
filed
C
in-
or?
yeah, we just
Okay.
filed in December.
Okay.
For the LLC. So that means you can apply for what's called your DOT. Do you want to explain what the DOT is? Because I'm not
Oh,
good
yeah.
at that.
Get the MC number and DOT, so now you're on your own.
Okay,
Authority.
Authority, your own authority, so you can get your own work instead of like be under somebody. Like for 5 years, the past 5 years, I've been using somebody else DOT number and
Okay.
MC number, and get me the load and also pay him a percentage of the money. But now we have
Okay.
our own DOT and own MC number.
so were you an employee of someone else prior to this? Like, did you receive like a W-2 or a 1099?
Yeah, so prior to filing, yes.
Okay.
But we filed in December.
Okay,
of
so
2021.
2021, you filed,
Yeah, so the
Secretary.
profit and loss is all from when Case Trucking
Okay.
LLC was established.
all right. And are 2022 returns filed yet? I know it's still early, it's
Not
not,
yet.
that's.
We have an appointment next week.
All right. And I'm assuming you don't get any, you've never received any other federal money?
No.
No.
And I'm so mad that I can't find what I wrote everything down on, trying to like look at it in my brain. So your accounting is done in QuickBooks?
Yes.
And that's over all your records?
Mhm.
And you do that yourself?
Yeah. They do provide a support person as well, so.
Yeah, when you have questions
Yeah, right,
on
yeah.
how to handle things?
And it's all automated, actually, so I'm not really doing much of it, right? So you set it up with the QuickBooks
Yeah.
service, customer service, and it's all automated, right? So it pulls in all the reports directly from your business account.
Okay, so
And
you
it-
can link right
it-
in with your bank?
Yeah, exactly. So it
Okay.
categorizes everything, and then if they have a question, they'll flag it, and it'll be sent to you, but you have to approve the profit and loss at the end of like,
Okay.
I think it's like every month that I look at it.
And so your plan, you said would be to pay down business debt
Mhm.
with the money, so is it like an outstanding credit card?
Yeah, so
that-
it's an outstanding credit card debt that we're looking to pay back, and there was mainly gas and then truck repairs as well. So the money that we were making was going to the crazy insurance costs that we have to pay for owning your own DOT,
Right,
right? So
yeah.
when you move over and start owning your own DOT, the insurance costs are like crazy.
Yeah, I
They
can
rise like
imagine that would be hard.
significantly, right? So we were paying insurance, we have to pay for the truck.
Mhm.
We also have to pay for things like the QuickBooks, trying to,
Yeah.
pay the brokers and things of that nature.
Okay.
So we're also looking to expand the business as well, right, to help us as well. So we wanted to get another truck. So that's another thing that we had requested for the funds as well, was to help us to get another truck to grow the business. And I don't think we mentioned that we do park our trucks in East Bridgewater at another business, so
Okay.
we pay that business and are supporting them as well. Or our one truck at the time, but we'll park our multiple
Right.
trucks there.
Right, thank you. I'm gonna keep searching my brain for what else I had written down.
So, going back to the debt, so there's no balance sheet here. It might be helpful to see a balance sheet
Of the, credit card statement.
of the business. Like, you
Oh,
provided
yeah.
a profit and loss, maybe a balance sheet would be helpful just to kind of
Yeah.
see
I don't have it on me.
the
but-
business. That's okay.
Yeah, you
send
can,
it all
yeah, and you have my email.
Yeah, I can
so-
send it over, definitely.
That'd be
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Because is any of the debt prior to,
No, because
no.
we didn't start the business until
Until-
December 2021,
Yeah.
so the credit card was completely opened when we started the business, so.
and it's only credit card that's on your debt? That's it? That's the only debt you have?
Yes.
Or do you have
Oh,
truck?
but we have the truck, like, we have to pay the truck, we finance the truck as well, so that's
Okay.
considered technically a debt, right? But otherwise, yeah, it's just a credit card.
Has the business been self-sustaining without the credit card in the last few months?
Since the work has picked up, it has, yeah. We've been trying, we haven't been using it, right, because now we're trying to, we have so
Right.
much debt, we're trying to get
Right.
into a good standing, so we've been trying to pay off the credit card and not use it. It's just been really hard to get out of the debt and then also put money in to grow the business, right?
Right.
Tough balance.
It is, yeah, COVID was tough,
It was-
very
yeah,
tough.
for everybody.
Yeah, it was a hard hit.
I don't know if anyone has more questions right now, but I don't think we won't have answers right away
Right,
on this. There's a
understood.
lot to look into. I think,
The thing in my mind is that we're aware, I don't know if you guys are aware, guys and girls, whatever, but, there's as being a subrecipient, I think is the term it's called.
Yep.
There's a lot of reporting and follow-up and stuff like that that needs to go on if we go with the grant. And are you aware of what needs to be done in order to keep up with all that? And
No.
how much of a hindrance would it be, is it gonna be on your day-to-day business?
Yeah, we're not aware.
right, and like I said, the other paper that I had, but some of the questions that I was asking were because part of our requirements, if we were to have a subrecipient, is to do like a risk assessment. Are you, like, how risky is it to give you guys federal money to manage? And that depends on, like, there's a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, an organization that gets federal money all the time and has a whole department set up to handle grants is less risky than a small business who's never handled federal money. And then it goes into compliance once you have the money, and there's kind of two ways to look at that. Either like a reimbursement method where we would see the expenses and then reimburse for them rather than giving the money up front and having it spent that way. But it could include things up to like someone coming out and looking at the financial records, having access to the records, and like the day-to-day transactions to monitor. Those are just kind of some of the things.
Okay, understood, that's fine, I mean,
That's fine.
we're looking for the assistance, right, just to help us get
Yeah.
in a
I'm
good
just-
place, so,
Trying to make you aware that,
Yeah.
this is what we're working under, and,
yeah,
if it happens, there's gonna be a lot of follow-up.
That's fine with us.
Right.
yeah,
Honestly.
understood.
And I think right now where we stand is we're still working through a number of the projects with the aim to eventually, in the next, hopefully, month or so, give the Board of Selectmen a recommendation of the projects to move forward, and then it goes into their hands.
Okay.
But we just wanted to be able to have you guys in, get as many questions out, start the conversation. And like Gigi said, to request more information, like a balance sheet would be
Yeah,
great.
definitely, I can send it, did you email me?
I did,
Okay, I
yes.
can send the balance.
Yeah, but I can email you again too. if you
Okay,
want.
sure.
It'll
Yeah.
show us like how much, like the cash on hand, should have balances
Mhm.
of the debt that's outstanding, the credit card, the truck financing.
Yeah, we have all that in QuickBooks, so we can, I saw the balance sheet, I just thought.
No, that's fine.
Since we
Nope.
had to send for that. So yeah, we can definitely share that over, and we understand, what we may be going through.
Right.
So, we'll be willing to comply with what we need to.
Yeah, do you have anything, questions or comments?
No, I think I'm all right.
Gigi, anything else?
Nope.
Ken?
I just was wondering if the amount that you're requesting is changing now because of the ongoing environment, I guess you'd say.
So, I think we would like to keep it the same, right? Like, we're trying to make some payments on our own. But, our main priority really is to pay off the business debt. We would love to grow and expand, and that's our second priority, of course. But our number one is to pay off the business debt, right? Just to not have that stress on our shoulders, right? So, I think the number is still accurate, so what we would, like where we were, right? The business has been starting to pick up, so we've been able to do a little more and not rely on putting things on credit cards, so, we're trying to get it in a good place.
'Cause with interest rates going up, it makes your debt even worse.
Yeah, insurance rates are crazy, I don't even remember what it is, but it's ridiculous.
for
It's like you pay
credit cards.
nothing.
And you have to pay an insurance for like 10 different things, right? We have like 10 insurances, one just to work with Amazon.
Mm.
If we want to grow, we would have to get another, like if we wanted to have employees under us, another driver, we would need to get another insurance as well. So there's a lot of different insurances that we have just to cover it.
Do we give you a chance to think of anything else, Melanie?
Oh, I'm really aggravated. I had all the.
Well, we're
papers
willing to
and
answer any
things,
questions
but
you have.
Thank
If
you, I
wanna send it
appreciate
to
that.
email, we're happy to send any follow-up that you may need.
Thank you, I
Yeah, of
appreciate
course.
that.
Thank you for the time.
I do it all the time, Melanie.
I printed your new spreadsheet that you sent today, and then I put all my notes on it, and put it with this stuff.
I appreciate you coming in, and,
Appreciate you guys for having
no,
us.
I personally, I believe strongly in small businesses, and,
Yeah.
you know, I think you're doing the right thing. If we can give you the help that you need, if we can give you the help anyway,
Yeah.
you know, we will try to do it.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Appreciate
Thank you for the
it. Thank you.
consideration and the time. All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Guys, have a good night.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you
Nice
guys,
to
have a
meet
good
you.
evening, thank you.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right, guys, good night.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Either do it.
Either one.
Okay, any other comments anyone wanna make as far as this goes? I know, keep bringing it up, but the reporting part is the scary part to me.
Right,
Right, and we don't understand it, we know that Plymouth County is against it or whatever.
I did reach out to someone that I know that is working with Plymouth County on the ARPA stuff, and he just reiterated that it is, you are opening yourself up to a lot more requirements, and he wasn't, I didn't get clear responses on exactly what those were, so I was trying to read through. I think you'll see the application that I sent you guys. It's like a 42-page
Yeah, yeah.
document, and
I
it's very,
I don't have enough ink.
very involved because, it's trying to cover the bases of any entity that you could be subbing money to. But it is something to keep in mind, and it is, they said, one of the most common findings as far as, like, when we're audited by the federal government, one of the most common findings is subrecipient monitoring. So just that is, I don't think it's straightforward, so a lot of people struggle with it. We don't do it for any other grants that we have right now that I'm aware of, so it's not something we have procedures in place on. But I'm gonna keep researching what I can. I think my own, specific concern, not related to the monitoring or anything, is if there's enough business history to show that this could, are we fixing a problem with the money, or are we aiding in something that's just, in 2 years, could they find themselves in a similar situation? And I don't know if there's enough history on the business to be able to tell that, was COVID an abnormality, or is this gonna be a cycle in that business where, it wouldn't necessarily be, it would help them for the time, but maybe it's not a COVID-specific problem, but.
Yeah, a couple of concerns that I have, two come to mind, and it's been a while since I've really dug into the ARPA funding for small business, but one of the issues was debt. It can't, the funds, right, can't be used for debt.
I was
Now,
trying
that's
to-
why I kind of got at, is it old debt, is it new debt? And then, one of the purposes is to grow the business. Is that another reason for ARPA funding, is to grow a business?
One thing I was trying to differentiate, because I had the same thought on the debt as you, was the different requirements, whether it's, because I know with the revenue replacement section, you cannot pay down debt. I don't know, there's also the, economic recovery section, and I don't know if this falls there, and then maybe the debt. I've been trying to,
I think we need to dig
there's
a
a
little
lot
bit
out
deeper
there
on
that's
that.
very
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
to.
Do we distinguish between money borrowed to build versus operating expenses, like with the credit card? I think that's what you're getting at too, looking at the balance sheet. You want to see if they have notes with the bank or anything versus just paying for day-to-day operations that they needed to do in that extended period of time. I mean, it just seems like, this is another spot where unless we were to get like a checklist from Plymouth County or from whoever, it's vague. And we're going to be, dealing with things that aren't clearly delineated for us. Yeah, I think that's what you alluded to, that you've asked and you have that thing that you sent us.
Right,
But that doesn't say, you have to fulfill all of these requirements,
right.
so.
Yeah, in my mind, when I read through the whole thing earlier, the request and stuff, and talking about the debt and the credit card, I was kind of leery of that, but then I was, in my mind, it was like, well, is that need to borrow due to the fact that they couldn't get any profitable work, in their words, during COVID,
Right,
right? So they had the business, it was up and running for whatever number of years, even though they were under somebody else's number. But then, when COVID came, their ability to make money to pay off existing debt and existing expenses was severely inhibited.
right.
And I don't know if that, like, I haven't seen the document you referred to that you sent out, so I haven't gotten to that.
Yeah, no, that was more very technical, a lot of it.
But again, going back, I think my take from the Plymouth County people was this, don't do this and stuff like that. I mean,
I think they were pretty clear about that when they came in here, when we were upstairs,
Yep.
that their money would not fund, that they wouldn't be using the Plymouth County money to fund subrecipients.
right. There were the two things that they said, can't use that money for that.
Right. So I think it's definitely more to look into.
I agree, I think we need to have more information, but I just, it's totally off the wall, really. But comparing a small business needing help post-COVID versus some of the things we've already discussed, like turf, backstops, things like that. I mean, when you put it into perspective, you've got two people here who are trying to make a go of it versus moving a backstop versus putting up netting, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, so that it really might not have anything to do with their application, but in my mind, there is a balance there that's a little out of whack if we have trouble considering their request versus some of the others.
I agree. I mean, to me, if we could help them, if we can help them in some way, then we need to work so we can find out the way to make that happen.
Find a way to help them.
Find a way, and exhaust every avenue we have between now and the end of whatever the time period is we have. I think we really have another year anyway
Right.
to do something. So, we'll go along, get stuff done that we know we have a better handle on and move forward with that stuff, but in the back of our minds, we should always be thinking of how can we find out more information about subrecipient money.
Well, one of the things that I hear whispered in my ear is how much reporting you're gonna have to do for a small business. Wasn't that from the beginning
That was,
a major hang-up?
yeah, and I think it's still unclear exactly it's more reporting, but exactly how much is still unclear. Honestly, I found it difficult to find the answers I was looking, I wanted to I had questions in my head and I wanted to be able to look it up and find the answers. I think it's just gonna be more time. I'm trying to think of what other resources I could use to reach out, because at a certain point, it's a lot of my time that's, I need to be doing
Right.
other things with too, so I'm trying to figure out because I don't think I can necessarily use Plymouth County as a resource. I'm gonna try, but if they're saying that they're not accepting applications for subrecipients, then they're not gonna entertain our questions about it, I don't think.
Now, is Eric Plymouth County, or is he the auditor?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Is Eric Kinshirf, is he?
Eric is with Plymouth County, but he's the one, he is who I reached out to. So just trying to get some more specific information from him. But he is working with Plymouth County, but he's not our representative. We have a different woman, so.
If we went to our auditor
That's my other, they're in next
right?
week,
Would they
so,
have a better idea of
yeah,
what
that, they're
they
on
should-
my list for when they're in next week to talk to them about it.
And even if they don't have an idea now, can we
Right.
just lean on them to say,
Mhm.
can you kind of list out or give some scope of what
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
additional reporting is?
Mhm.
So we can get some feel of that. You know, it could be the reporting falls on them, but at the end of the day, we're gonna be responsible, so if they fall down on their reporting, then we're falling down at the same time, so
Right.
that's something we probably wanna distinguish between.
In coming back to what we've gone through the last couple of weeks, we're just either recommending or not recommending, and then it goes to the Board of Selectmen, and they approve or don't. So there is a check there somewhere.
Yeah.
If they don't feel comfortable
Right.
with what we've given, they say no.
Right, and I'm sure they're gonna ask these same questions
Right.
when it gets to them.
Right.
If they ask us, we'll be turning around looking for help.
Well,
Right.
if we do our homework now, I mean, I think we have to do our homework before we make a
Right.
decision.
Right.
And I think if our homework says it's all right to make the decision, we'll be in good shape with them anyway. But I think there's extra work for us to do to determine what the extra work is gonna be at the end of the day. And another, something you touched on, and we can come back to this other thing, but before I lose track of it, because I wanted to say it. So we didn't recommend two things last week.
Do we,
We didn't recommend two requests last week. We voted, but we did,
we tabled one and we said no to another.
right, so
Yeah.
to me, that's not recommended, whether they're tabled or not, right? Tabled, and we
Right,
said no to.
Right,
So where we are now is we have so many that we recommended. We had two before, and I think we did 8 last week we recommended. So we got 10 that we've recommended out of the 27, and 2 that we have no recommendation on at this time. And the other ones are still in progress. It's not bad for off the top of my head at 69.
Right.
There you go.
Sounded good to me, anyway.
Yep.
So, I mean, we should have had, I apologize, I was gonna bring John Haynes and Howard tonight,
He's upstairs.
but when I saw at the beginning of the week that the snow was coming, I figured John Haynes would be out all night, so I just said I'll put him off to another week.
I think he's presenting to FinCom tonight.
Yep.
So-
So he wouldn't have been here anyway.
Right. And John Shea's at school committee.
Yep.
So everyone, it was a busy night.
Busy.
So it's just us.
Yep.
Anything else we wanna talk about?
One thing, do you have that list of who's upcoming? I think you mentioned last week you put something together about who's gonna be here, what,
Yep, I thought I sent it, I didn't send it out.
about the list, maybe just a list of our next meetings.
These are my make-believe bifocals. All right, so we did Kay's Trucking tonight. So that's 228. So we still have the sidewalks to do. Next week, we scheduled Mitchell School entrance and the drainage for the field. And school pickup truck.
So we want to see, have we got John Shea for that night, or we're gonna,
We gotta invite him.
do you want me to reach out, or do you want to?
It's too easy for me to just say, you can go ahead.
I can do that.
Then,
And that's next Tuesday?
yep, March 7th.
And I'll contact Nancy Hill if you wanna put her in there too, if
Yeah.
not.
All
I
right.
didn't do it, I figured I'd wait till after we met tonight.
Yeah, we had taken her off for some reason last week.
But she returned,
Oh,
She's on
that's right.
vacation.
Yeah, she was on
Yesterday.
vacation today, would have been too
so we
close.
figured we'll give her a break.
Yeah, I think we could probably put her on the 7th if she's available.
All right.
You wanna, you'll reach out to her?
I'll reach out to her, sure. For next week then, right?
Yep.
And I had done a little bit of digging on the internet just to see what's available for pavilions. And I can send you a couple of pictures. I can just send it to the whole email list. And maybe, I'm trying to get a quote from a place that does pavilions. Just, basically, see what they come back with. You know, so maybe we can help her out a little bit. Not that it's our job, but, you know, I was kinda hung up on the fact that I thought we needed a schematic just to build a structure like that. And, you know, that was gonna cost, if my memory serves me well, that was part of the problem. They needed money
Right.
to get that going.
Might wanna just give Brian Kiley a quick call. He could probably.
Brian Kiley?
Yeah,
Okay.
he works at the DPW, he's the facilities guy. So he could probably give you a little background on what they've already done. So I think he helped her with that.
I think he did too. I wasn't at the meeting that she presented at, but.
Yeah, we didn't really speak to her for very long because she was very unclear as to what they wanted.
Right.
And she was just putting out a number that she had been given. So,
I'm trying to think if Brian was even there that night, or it was another night he was, I know he was there he's the one that got us started on, it can be $50,000 to get a,
that's what I thought, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, a schematic just to, yeah, I mean, and basically, you know, pavilions go up all over the place without schematics. you
Right.
know, so. But that's not, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of doing something for the town anyway, so that, you know, that might be a requirement. I don't know.
he's a good guy, easy to talk to,
Okay.
regular guy.
Where is he, at DPW?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then, the 14th, we have, repurpose or renovate the Church Street courts, LED lighting at Church Street, Little League concessions, storage, repairs. So that would be a John Shea night.
So next week, what were his items? It was the middle school and central school entrances.
Yep, and the drainage, and the pickup truck.
Okay.
And then the last week, right now, is at, the trails, the town signs, and the premium pay.
And that's the 21st.
Pardon me?
John Shea, you don't need the 14th, right?
Is that a school committee? That's all John Shea.
So it depends on the school committee.
All right, we'll change him to the
It's looking out for
21st.
us.
We'll swap the 14th and the
Switch.
21st, all right? Okay, anything else? Entertain a motion,
To adjourn.
Second?
made and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.